As Vivian and her children wept for their loss, Imani felt like an intruder. She had come seeking closure, but instead found herself feeling guilt and shame for the role she unknowingly played in Julian's deception. After nearly an hour of listening to the preacher droning his sermon, Imani felt Casey's hand squeeze hers. "You're not planning on throwing yourself on the body, are you?" she whispered. Imani's eyes rolled in irritation. "Of course not." "Then let's get out of here. We have a long drive back." She agreed. They should leave before anyone noticed she had come. They rose and tiptoed out of the balcony, down the stairs, and into the vestibule, where they finally felt like they could breathe. "Phew! This yiddy is cutting into my kitty and I can't breathe. I want to change back into my riding clothes." Casey looked left and right, already pulling at the zipper of her dress. "Let's just stop at a restroom on the way out of town," said Imani. "I want to get out of here. I am not changing in an Exxon bathroom." A glacial voice stopped them cold. "Excuse me." Imani and Casey whipped around, eyes wide and mouths open, to find Vivian Carver standing there, gloved hands clasped tightly. "Mrs. Carver," said Imani, moving forward, "I am so sorry for your—" "Shut up!" she snapped. Imani froze mid-step. Vivian's eyes were cold and unyielding. "I know exactly who you are. I've been through his phone, his texts, his emails, his credit cards. I've seen his little bachelor pad downtown. I know Julian fed you a deluded fantasy that you might be his wife someday. Well, surprise, little girl." Vivian's eyes traveled the length of her belted tea-length dress. Imani could tell she was trying hard to find fault with it but couldn't, so she sneered out of spite and anger. Her words dripped with venom, each syllable a dagger aimed directly at her heart. "You will not stand over my husband's corpse, play-acting the grieving widow. You have no place here," she hissed, her eyes blazing. "I want you gone this instant, before I file a claim for every tacky piece of jewelry he ever bought you and sue you for every piece of our fortune, money he and I earned together, that he spent trying to convince you that you ever had a chance to become Mrs. Julian Carver." I didn't know," Imani rasped, fighting to steady her voice. Tears brimmed her eyes as she met Vivian's steely gaze. "I didn't know he was married, I promise. I only came to pay my respects. I thought—" The foolish, pitiful extent of what she'd thought crashed over her. What has she thought? That Julian would never lie to her? That she'd finally found a wonderful man to settle down with? That they had a future? "Whatever you thought," Vivian's lips thinned into a merciless line, "you thought wrong. Julian may have hidden his real life well, but you are not welcome here. Please leave, and if you know what's good for you, you'll forget Julian Carver ever existed." "Yeah, we were leaving anyway," Casey interjected, propelling Imani out of the doors to their waiting car. "What the hell crawled up her ass?" Imani fumed, as the stately Cadillac purred to life. Casey's husband had insisted on sending them to Raleigh in style. Probably the knowledge that the man she's spittin' mad about was keeping company with a hot young Atlanta thing. Imani recoiled at the label, the other woman, the homewrecker. She had always prided herself on being strong and independent, but now she felt like nothing more than a pawn in someone else's game. She had been so naive, so foolish. Miles slipped by, the city giving way to green framed by the occasional billboard advertising barbecue joints and local attractions. Imani stared out of the window, her reflection a ghostly overlay on the passing scenery. She felt hollow, each mile taking her further, not just from Julian's funeral, but from the dreams she admitted she had begun to indulge in. "I hear that mind ticking over there, rolling things around. You need to get your head on straight, figure out your plan for moving on." "You're right," Imani inhaled, steeling her spine. "I need to figure out what's next. And I have to stop letting this situation live rent-free in my mind. It's done. Over. Moving on." Casey nodded approvingly, her fingers tight around the wide steering wheel. "That's the spirit, baby girl. You need a fresh start, something to throw yourself into."